Hello friends, I've put together this short video which covers basic art supplies for beginners. If you've been thinking about taking up watercolour painting, you might be wondering, what paper do I get, what brushes do I need, what paint do I need? Hopefully by the end of this video you will have a better idea of what to get so you can get started as soon as possible. My name is Wendy Dashwood, I'm a self-taught artist and I help other self-taught artists and beginners avoid the mistakes that I made. Most of the suggestions in my list are from my experience of learning watercolour over the years, and there's some of my favourite supplies, so I hope it's helpful. Let's get going. This is a quick whistle-stop tour of the basic art supplies in no particular order. I'll start with these brushes. You need a set of round brushes. These two sets are very good. They're from Amazon. This is a Nick Pro set and this is the Amazon Basic set. The benefit of the Amazon Basic set is that that also includes some flat brushes. I've got two glass water containers. These are actually 2-pint mugs, which I got because I wanted something that could go in the dishwasher every now and again, and I'd prefer to use glass rather than plastic, but it's completely up to you. If you've got an old vase or indeed some old pint mugs in your house, that's perfectly fine. You just need to make sure that it is something that can't be knocked over very easily. Going back to brushes, these are basic brushes. I've included two other makes. One is by Pro Art and one is by Princeton. Princeton make very, very good brushes, but they are more expensive. But these two are flat brushes. You will need a slightly bigger flat brush, which you wouldn't get from these two sets here. This Princeton one is their Sea Glass range. This is a Princeton snap brush, which I use for mixing paint, so it doesn't matter if that one gets a little bit more wear and tear. Right, what else have we got? We've got a hairdryer. This is a travel hairdryer. That's really good. If you don't want to wait for your paint to dry, you can just bung the hairdryer on it and it'll dry very quickly. I also keep old tea towels, hand towels and flannels so that I don't rely solely on kitchen roll. Again, it's more an environmentally friendly thing because these can go in the washing machine. You'll need a couple of sponges, and these are good for making trees, hedging, leaves, a little spray bottle, a pot of masking fluid. Masking fluid is used for preserving the white of the paper. Pencil sharpener, pencil, and keep old toothbrushes because they can be used with masking fluid for things like sea spray, snow, stars, that kind of thing. And then this is a little gadget here that you use to rub off the masking fluid once it has dried and you've finished your painting. And an old dinner plate that you can use for mixing up your paints. You can also get relatively inexpensive ceramic mixing palettes on Amazon. Right, so you've got your water container, you've got your brushes, you've got other bits and pieces, you've got a mixing palette. So now you need some paper, a very simplified version because I don't want to overload you with too much information. There are two types of paper. There's the budget paper and then there's the quality, more expensive paper. The difference between the two is that the more expensive paper is made from 100% cotton and you normally get less sheets in a pad, whereas with the inexpensive paper, they're not made from cotton, they're made from cellulose or wood pulp. This is one option, Zeala, but it's not made from cotton. And then there's this one, which is the artistic. That also isn't made from 100% cotton, but both of these are very inexpensive. This particular one you get 2 pads in one pack, and this one you get 50 sheets, so that one will last for ages. Now, there are two schools of thought with regard to inexpensive paper and expensive paper. Some artists say don't bother with inexpensive paper because you need to get used to using the same paper so that you get consistent results. But if you're a beginner, my view is that before you can graduate to the more expensive paper, you need to understand the principles of watercolour, colour mixing, using your brushes, how to draw. There's so many things that you need to perfect before you can confidently paint something. So in the early days, you're just going to be playing and experimenting. And if you're using expensive paper to play and experiment, you're going to run out of paper. It's entirely up to you, but you do have the two options. I started off with really cheap paper, and then gradually, as my skills improved, I started experimenting with more expensive paper. One compromise as far as getting 100% cotton paper, which isn't quite as expensive, is this one, which is the Canson Heritage paper. There are 20 sheets of paper in that one, and that's actually not bad. That's pretty good paper. So those are good for budget. If you did want to try out the more expensive one, this one, which is Arches, which is 100% cotton paper, is the creme de la creme, the Rolls Royce of paper. It's wonderful to paint with. But this is all about budget supplies, so you don't necessarily need to get this one, but you can aspire to get that one day. Right, additionally to your watercolour paper, another thing that you might want to incorporate into your art supplies are sketchbooks. And watercolour sketchbooks is something that I incorporated into my art stash only a couple of years ago. When I discovered that I could have a sketchbook that I could paint in, it really did open some doors for me. I've tried a few and I've settled on 3 that I really like. This one is the visual journal, and you can use that for mixed media, so not just watercolour. You can use crayon, I think you can use acrylic and ink and all sorts. And this one is 100% cotton, and even though the weight of the paper isn't the same as you would expect for watercolour, it does actually take the paint really well. So this is good for experimenting, and as I was saying before, rather than using the expensive paper to do your experiments, you could get a sketchbook and experiment in there, like I have with some of these, and they come out pretty well, so come out pretty respectable. Another option is this one, which is the Stillman Birn Beta Series. This is very, very nice. So I'm going to start a new project to do with sunflowers in here. I'm just going to devote the whole of this sketchbook to sunflowers, so I'm really looking forward to starting that. And then the last one is the SeaWhite Sketchbook. I've found it very, very nice to paint with. Right, so you've got your paper, you've got sketchbooks, you've got your brushes, you've got water container, you've got other little bits and pieces. Now you need some paint. And I've got a couple of examples here that I use quite frequently. This one is a Van Gogh watercolour set, and this is a tin. You can buy these empty tins. You can buy these off Amazon. You can fill them with your own watercolours. The beauty of this one is because it's ready-made, you know that you're getting a full set that you need to mix any colours. So, which is yellow, red, blue, green and brown. Oh, there's a yellow ochre actually. Black and white. You'll get a cool and a warm version of each of those. Other brands do them as well. Winsor & Newton, Schminker, Sennelier, the SAA, which is the Society for All Artists, I'm a member of. This is what these are in here. I bought those separately, and these are my favourite colours that I've mixed up to put into my own little tin. And they come in, these are what are known as half pans, and these are whole pans, so they're a bit bigger. So always beware of that when you're buying a set of watercolours. You might think, oh, they're really cheap, but actually it's probably because they're half pans and not whole pans. And once you have reached a certain level, you will realise that you probably need to get some tubes of paint, because there are some artworks where you need to get really thick paint. which is very difficult to achieve with the pans. So tubes are always useful, but that's for further down the line once you've got a bit more experienced. I hope you found that helpful, but if you've got any questions or comments, please put them in the comment box below. So you know, I'm also going to be putting together another video which lists a few useful books for beginners, so watch out for that one, and I'll see you in the next video.